to cut them.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So it looks like some folks are on, but it's 8:06 and I don't be liking to start things too late. But we'll always have this video. And so this is, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, Logan. You are the first Black mama for the series.
I'm excited.
For the series, this series is, the authentic Black mama. And, I was really strategic about, what that other part of the colon would be. And so finding joy in womanhood and love and peace and motherhood, because I think, and this is me coming from a perspective of, just a Black single woman, that we don't put those two together. We talk about womanhood over here and motherhood over here, but moms are both. So I was excited when I reached out to all the Black mamas who I wanted to be a part of this series and, told them, my truth and, one day, that being, a part of my story, and wanting to learn from you all, because I don't think it doesn't matter if I'm, not a mother now, or if I have to plan to a year or 2 years now. I think there's still gems, and I think you guys' stories, need to be heard. And so for people who are on, if you can go to on Instagram, if you can go to the Choose True Project, go to that, and then go to the flyer. I call it like the mama bio of Logan. It should be let me make sure. It should be the second one. Yeah, it should be right in the middle. And her mommy bio, and I'm not gonna read it off per se, but Logan, came up with these words, and she talked about being a teenage daughter. So I wanted her to talk about that and what that looked like. And she's also a 2020 graduate. She graduated from South Carolina State University and you got your master's in speech language pathology, right? Yeah. And so hopefully we'll talk about that too and what that looks like. But I really love your Black mama joy, and you saying that you want to show your daughter how to use her voice and take up space, because are we taught that, or do we learn that at home? Our Black kids, our Black sons, our Black daughters, are they learning that in school, or is that something that they learn from their family or mothers? And so I love that you said that. And I really wanted to dive in more to you saying, being a resilient woman has made me defy the status quo of being a teenage mother. Because, when we think of, being a woman and, and just talking from it, you had your daughter, Miley, beautiful Miley, when you were a teenager. So, I want to talk about, were you necessarily a woman yet? Or did you have to, figure that all out together, right? You have to, and so I think this is going to be the beauty in these stories, that all of them are going to be very different, because some of the moms were mothers, they were wives before, some were not. And I think, I don't know, I just love the beauty in that, and just starting with that. But I loved how you said, being a resilient woman, at the end of the day, that's what helped you to be a good mother. But when you first became a mother, what did that look like for you? Right? Okay, so I wanted to thank you again for being a part of this. And, again, I always tell you, I want to give flowers wherever flowers are due, because they are. Because I could imagine being a mother. Oh, another alarm. I really did alarm. I only imagine. I think moms are superwomen. They have to go to work. They have to, go into their friend circle. They have to be, this sister, this brother, but then they also have to be a mom, and then they have to find time for themselves. They gotta do all of that. And so I always think, moms hold a very special place into my heart. So I wanted to start with you just talking about what your mommy journey was, what that looked like, you being, you say you being a teenage mother, and, what that was for you.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for the opportunity to tell my story. So, but yeah, so my journey of finding out was pretty crazy, just because I was in school only in 11th grade, and I was only 16 years old. I was heavily involved in student council, athletic, got good grades, perfect attendance, the whole 9 yards. My mom, we never got to miss a day of school. So when I found out I was pregnant, it was like a lot of chaos around it. And I think just because my 11th grade year, I was playing volleyball, but I got injured. So I was out the entire year, and that was a bummer. So, you know what happens when you got a lot of time on your hands.
Let's talk about it.
My first boyfriend, so I'm just thinking I'm in love.
Yep.
And yeah, so long story short, yeah, we got it popping, and I'm like, okay, because I was a tomboy, I don't really keep up with my period. So I'm like, okay, well, this income, and then I'm like, okay, well, if I gain this amount of weight, I'm gonna tell my parents, and then my sister, she's still in the house with me too, and she's my older sister, like she's super protective of me. So she's like, every time I go to like student council, because we had it 6th period together, her and her best friend Ashley, they'll be like, what? Why you got on this jacket and it's like 80 degrees in here and all this random stuff? So I just tell my best friend one day, we were in like calculus, and I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. And she was like, okay, so what you gonna do? And I'm just thinking about all this all throughout the day. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get to 6th period with my sister, because I know she's gonna like freak out. My mom had been asking me to take pregnancy tests like every single morning that week, but I'll be like, oh no, I already used the bathroom or something. So yeah, I told her, and well, actually, I told my best friend, and then I wound up not going home that night because I was like, I'm just gonna, it's just gonna be too much. My mama, she's gonna know. So I didn't go home. My sister, she started this search party. So if you're from Spartanburg, this is a legendary story. She started a search party, and I kind of went missing, they say, but I didn't. I was with my
Wait, what?
I know it's a lot. So
let me write that search party so I can find more information about this later.
Because my track coach was a part of the police force, so it was pretty easy for them to get all that together. So she started all that, and didn't go to school that next day. That was my very first day missing school ever. So that still spurred up a lot. My teachers were like, oh, where are you? Like, people just writing me back on MySpace, like all these things. And I'm just like, okay, just sitting there. And I felt really bad, but I just needed like a way to like just do my own thing. Because I was like, I know once I tell my parents, life is going to be totally different. So I do that. Yeah. I found home, and my mom and my dad, they're like at the house. And I'm like, I just walk in, and they're just like happy to see me just because I didn't come home. And I just go upstairs, and then my dad's like, you could have told us and all that stuff. So he starts crying. That's like the one thing I remember. He like cried. He was like, you should have just told me. And I'm like, oh, I never see you cry. But yeah, it was just a lot going on during that time, just because I was private, but I still want to like find a way to tell people, but it just did not the right way. In my head, it seemed good, but in theory, terrible. Like it was
right. Bad. Also, wait, 11th grade. How old are you?
I was 16 then, but when I had her, I was 17.
Yeah. So in your mind, you run away, go and clear my head, but you did not think about, oh my gosh, my family is going to be scared and looking for me. You didn't even think of that probably at all.
I did not, because I'm like, well, they know me. They know I'm not going to do anything to myself. Like, that's the type of person I am. But no, it just went a totally different way. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, not do that again. But yeah, so I wound up having Miley, like, I think the week before school started. And I just had to learn a lot. Look, just hit the ground running after that.
But you finished high school, you went through senior year. So what did that look like in terms of, finishing off your senior year? I mean, having a support from your family, but also having a newborn. Like, when kids think of like what senior year is like, oh my gosh, there's graduation, I'm getting ready for college, I'm thinking about prom. Like, what was that like for you in that moment?
I mean, for me, everything was still moving along as it was. Like my teachers, they like understood. My bio teacher, she was like, hey, if you need I was breastfeeding. So she's like, if you ever need a pump, I had senior study hall. All my teachers, they were all on one accord. So they would let me
bio teacher. Shout out to your bio teacher.
Bathroom and pump, and my best friend Portia, she'll sit in there with me. And like, it was just, they made it very accommodating for me. It was just, just having a child is just a lot. But I was able to push through it all and graduate. And she was at the track meets with us, and everybody got to meet her. So yeah, it worked out. I guess. Look, it worked out.
It did work out because, you hear, Logan, you hear the horror stories. You hear the stories of the kids who have, moms who are teenage, who have kids, and, that's it. Life is completely over. There's nothing else that they can live for. But, what, I guess in that sense, like what kept you going in that space as you were getting ready to go to college? It's okay.
Oh yeah, she's a mess. Because well, first of all, my mama does not play that. She was like, "You still gonna get your stuff done?" Like she was more mad that I missed that day of school because my sister, she was graduating without missing any days, 12 years. So she was like, "I can't believe you missed that day," and I'm like, "Okay," but I mean, my mama, she's just like, "You know what you did." You know what you got to do. We still going to college and all this other stuff. And that was in my head anyway, because I mean, just growing up, my mom had us in different things. So I got to go places and travel during sports. So I was like, oh, I don't think I would ever want to stay back home. Not that anything's wrong with Spartanburg, but I was like, oh, I want to go see other things. So I knew me having a baby, I could do that, but it would just be like, I would have to split my time kind of, or like think of things to do with my child. Besides what regular 16 and 17-year-olds are doing, just like going to senior week and having all this fun. Granted, I got to do all this. At the end of the day, my mama was like, they don't have a child, you do. So you need to get yourself together and do all this stuff first. So she kept me on a real tight schedule, but I mean, it worked out. She's the person. She's who I am today because she was not playing them games. She was like, I'm too young to be a grandma anyway. So, and that's how that went. And my dad.
So I'm just going to shout out to Courtney P for the search party in Spartanburg, the famous search party. Mm-hmm. Shout out to your bio teacher for allowing you to and asking you and being vocal about breastfeeding and what that looked like for you being in high school. And then shout out to your mama for keeping your behind straight.
And the papa don't play.
Right. So shout out to all those three ladies. Let's talk about that. So I guess let's go to that. So we talked I sent you some questions, but I want to make sure this flows. So I sent you the question about starting off the phrase like dear mama, like what would you say Logan Peak right now, as she is, what does that letter look like to your mom? So the dear mama, and you fill in the blank.
So basically, I would just say, dear mom, thank you for everything you've done for me, because my mama, she made a lot of sacrifices for me and my sister. And then like waiting and having kids that's another part of the story. When I was having my daughter, I had two brothers who were like 2 and 1 years old. So they're literally in order. But she made a lot of sacrifices for us. Like growing up, I just remember her working a lot and like just making like she barely slept, and I'm just like, how are you doing all this stuff when you just got off work and you're taking us everywhere? Granted, my dad, he was in the picture, but he was working and all this stuff, and she was like, I saw her all the time, like school, she was a substitute teacher, like everywhere. And I just would also say that I appreciate like the experiences that she gave us, and like just thinking back, like the things that she would take us to, like she would take us to NAACP meetings when we're like 7 and 8 years old. And just thinking about that growing up, I didn't know what that was. I just used to complain and be like, why do we got to go here? None of the other kids are doing this. And that black mama saying, I don't care what your friends doing, but yeah, she would just expose us to a lot of things. And that I was just so thankful for that, because she opened my eyes up to a lot. I know she had, well, the way that she grew up, she didn't have a bad childhood, but she knew she wanted her kids to have far better. So she's been doing that with myself, my sister, and my 2 younger brothers, as well as Miley.
Yeah, so I am giving you your flowers, but also, being in a space where we give our moms and our grandmas these flowers, and, normalizing these things, these experiences that we have with our moms, and passing it down, right? Because it was funny. So I was, I posted on my Instagram the whole, like, what song did your mom use, when she was cleaning up? And, people put the old school, because I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about, what that looks like for me, kids. And I'm like, I can only imagine trying to clean my house listening to Meg Thee Stallion and City Girls. Like, that's not going to work for clean up Saturdays, right? So we have to like pass these stories and these experiences down. And so, you know, that was an experience of yours of, you know, being at an NAACP meeting at 7. And I'm sure Miley, you know, she's probably like, Mom, I probably don't want to go to these things because you did it. But she was going to value that, you know, when she gets older, be like, you know what, my mama did take me to something that I really did not want to go to, but I went.
I do that to her all the time, especially in grad school. She was the first one signed up for all the little hearing screenings and language assessments. And she's like, it's nothing wrong with me. I'm like, you still gonna do it. But yeah, I do the same thing. And I know she like laughs at me because I tell her that all the time. I'll be like, well, when I was growing up, and she's like, you're not even that much older. I'm like, but still, when I was growing up, I had to do this and this and this. Like just trying, because she's 11, about to be 12 next month. So I'm like, girl, you gotta do a little bit more around the house. Like Saturdays, cleaning up. I told her once she hear this music, better wake up. Because she thinks she's on third shift all summer, just going to sleep at 3 a.m., waking up at 3 p.m. And I'm like, no. But I mean, yeah.
That's the tweenage. That's where the tweenage comes in, right? Like hit you with the girl. You're not that much older than.
That's what I'm saying, girl. Stop, honey. And then she just thinks all my friends are her friends. It's a lot. We wear the same size clothes, kinda. And I'm just like, girl, if you don't found out she was I was like, where are my ripped jeans at? Homegirl been wearing them to school. Not even supposed to wear ripped jeans. Then got a call from the principal talking about, you know, your daughter has on this. And I'm like,
you didn't even know. She just took it.
I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, my sister, look, she's pretty close. She used to go take her some clothes while I was down in Orangeburg in classes. But honey, homegirl was a trip.
No, for sure. All right, so let's keep going because I'm enjoying this. I feel like we can keep talking. But you know, I sent you when I first thought about, you know, this series and what like a Black mama is, and like, you know, being authentic and like, you know, people use that word transparent, real, authentic, whatever that word is. But you know, authentic meaning like, you know, being authentic means coming from a real place within. You know, it is when our actions and words are related, you know, are connected with our beliefs and our values. It is being ourselves and not an imitation of what we think we should be or what we have been told we should be. And so, you know, I crowned you an authentic Black mama, but what makes you feel like you are an authentic Black mama?
I feel like I'm an authentic Black mama because I know I don't have the answers to everything. So I try to be very transparent with my daughter. Like I let her know, hey, if you feel like I'm doing something, I know this is Black mama taboo, but I'll be like, it's okay, you can like let me know. Like I want her to be able to speak up because I can't expect her to speak up when she's in school for something that she doesn't feel is right if she doesn't do it at home. So I try to implement that. And I'm like, hey, I know you probably think I did this. Let's talk about it. Because that's something when I got in trouble, my parents, they did not explain what it was. Like, you should know you weren't supposed to do that. But I try to explain that to Miley. And then, along with not having all the answers, I guess just keeping it real, being honest, because if I don't do it at home, like I said, once she gets out in the world, I mean, you can lose your soul. We see what happened with August Alsina and all that stuff. So I don't want any of that for my baby. I want her to be all crazy. So I just want her I don't want no entanglement. So I just want her to be able to talk to me, just being transparent, real, letting her know, like, I told her about this series. I mean, I spoke with her about how I grew up and like being a Black mama before, but I'm like, hey, you can watch it too, just in case, I don't know, you just feel like I wasn't giving you the same answers. So just to see that, nothing pretty much changed from what I told you. So just trying to be transparent and being honest so she can just always come back and talk to me when she's like 20, 30, 40s, 50s. Just we always would have a great relationship. Trying to build
right. I mean, and so it reminds me of me and my mom. My mom had me when she was 18 and we grew up together. And so sometimes when I say my mom is my best friend, some people, don't get that because they never got that from their mom. Their mom was this authoritative figure and their mom was that was all that she was. And they weren't able to build, that friendship later on. So was my mom always my friend? Hell no, she wasn't always my friend, but we grew to that and it was easier because she just always understood where I was coming from, right? Or she just always was, I always felt like I could always go to my mom about anything. I've never felt like I couldn't.
Right.
And so I used to feel uneasy about that growing up, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, like you got your mom who can tell you, you can tell them anything. They don't judge you. They might tell you how they feel, but they can still ride with you to the end. I think that's such a blessing. And I'm grateful for that experience, and it reminds me a lot of, the relationship you say you have with Miley, just being, open about what's been going on and what that looks like. So I think that's the one for my mom. My mom isn't always going to be my friend, but I mean, we worked on a friendship and we built that, and it's, the two together is like magic. I feel like
y'all have a great relationship. I love it. Like that's literally what I'm like. Hey, I tell about. I'm like, look at this. This is be us. Like y'all I love it. I can't wait for the series. Well,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Me and my mom, we gonna talk about it. We gonna really talk about it, but it hasn't always been so easy and cool. But it's gonna be exciting to talk to her. So that's another reason why I wanted to do the mommy series. So people can see what that relationship looks like with my mom. I lost my grandma in February, and it was a grandma that I, didn't really talk to. I like missed the opportunities to talk to her. So I really wanted to talk about that, right? Because here I had this great relationship with my mom, but I was estranged from my, my grandmother. But I still hold on to the memories. I was so sad when she passed away, and I'm like, sis, why are you so sad? You literally didn't even try to reach out to this lady for years, but why are you so sad? And so I talk about that a lot in the blog about, what that looks like, and just the title of a grandmother, right? And the memories that, it could be whatever it's going to be, but people will always hold on to the memories, regardless of what it looked like in the time. So, treat people well, right? Treat people that you love, and you love them, because there's something that they're going to remember from that. And so that's what I'm kind of going to talk about in the blog. So yeah, you made me just tell my whole story. I didn't want to do that quite yet.
Well, no, I just love y'all relationship. I don't know. Cool. I can talk about y'all.
It comes, So I want you to watch the YouTube when it comes out, just so you can, see what has transpired or how we got there. But I wanted to go in really quick. It's already almost 8:30. That's crazy, right? I wanted to talk about, the climate is crazy, racial injustice is at its high. I mean, we see, Black men, Black women getting killed senselessly by police, and just, I sometimes I can't wrap my head around it, but in all of this, you are a mother to protect your kids, right? I mean, that's when we think of like what a mother is. A mother protects their kid. Like that's what they're supposed to do. And so in this space, what scares you about being a Black mama, right? Like, cause I would love to hear what you think, because I can only imagine. I'm sometimes scared to go out on my own. Or when I see a police officer, I get afraid. And so not only do you have to protect yourself, but you have to protect a child that is trying to figure out in this world who she is, what she's trying to be. And then everything else is going, it's so scary. So I just wanted to talk to you about, what scares you about that, and how do you, you get through that, or what do you tell yourself? What are those talks to yourself that you have about, being there for Miley, and, I guess, like you said, being transparent to her about what's going on in the world, because it's crazy. She's only 11 and she's seen this.
Yeah. I mean, everything that you mentioned, that literally goes through my head. I have anxious thoughts a lot. But I just try to stay grounded, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I have a really strong faith. So I'm like, okay, well, I know if worst comes to worst, God has me covered. That's what he's not going to put more on me that I can bear, but it is very scary to see what's going on in the news. I mean, I do have a young daughter, but I also have 2 younger brothers. So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm tearing up now, because I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, which we talked about it, me and my family, about 3 weeks ago, when I went up to Virginia to see my cousins, and they were just asking Miley, like, oh, what do you think's going on? And she was just so nonchalant, like, oh, well, I don't know too much. And it just opened up a lane for us to do more discussions and talk about what's going on, because growing up, we were in Tennessee, so it wasn't too many, when we stayed in Nashville, it was a mixed crowd, but once we moved out to Murfreesboro, it was kind of whitewashed. So hear her trying to figure out her identity and all this stuff, because I just remember the first thing she told me when she came back from school, 4th grade, when we moved back. She's like, I don't have any friends because I don't think these Black girls are gonna like me, because she wasn't used to being around them. So I'm like, oh, just trying to like process that. And I'm like, oh, I just, I'm telling her stuff, but it's like, okay, well, sometimes it doesn't matter what your mom says. It's like, you go off what your peers are thinking, because that's what's hot at the moment. You're, especially being a teenager. But yeah. I mean, it's really scary. But I just try to keep my faith, and try to like tell her about different situations. And my sister, she does a really good job about breaking that down too, especially I mean, she puts everything into like layman's terms for her, and I'm pretty like sweet with it. My sister, she's gonna be like, this, and this. I'm gonna tell you why you need to do this, because this can happen to you. Don't you see what's going on? And she'll even pull up a clip. And she loves history. Like, she'll bring everything up from the past. So I mean, while she's doing that, I learn a lot from it too. But I mean, just to put it all in summary, I do have anxious thoughts. I think about all this stuff, and I'm just like, I can't protect her from everything. I just gotta like instill my values and what I learned, and just hopefully she makes the best decisions. Like, be careful of the company that you keep. But it all the time. I don't care what your little friends doing, because they're not my kids, but you better make sure they're making the right decisions. Like integrity, I'm huge on integrity. I say that all the time. She hears it a lot. Hey, what are you doing when I wasn't watching? And then if something's not adding up, we're gonna talk about it. And she'll get in her mood where she's sick of me talking, but she's trying to play Fortnite with her friends. And I'm like, no, I gotta put my foot down, because these things are happening every day in life, and you need to know like what to do. So
what to do. So that's your Black mama quote, right? Here's one of your things. Be careful of the company you keep. That's a good one, because
that one. And I'm not your little friend. That legendary one, because she's sometimes I'm like, Miley, what? But yeah, just be mindful.
I'm sure you tell her that more often than you would like.
Yes, I give it to her every day, and you can tell when she gets sick of me. I can see it in her face, and I'll just keep going. Like, I tell myself I need to stop, but then I just gotta keep going, because I'm like, you're not. And then I'll be like, do you have anything to say? And she won't say anything, and I'm like, this is your opportunity. So it's a lot. It's a lot of teaching.
Molly's gonna go back and watch this and roll her eyes at you, by the way.
Pretty much. She's sitting here listening to me, and she's like, but I told you.
Roll your eyes. Miley, you can roll your eyes. Just don't roll your eyes in the room tomorrow. Just do it later.
Don't let me see it, because I'll pop it in the back of the room.
Don't let your mama see it. You can roll your eyes in another room and be like,
she'll do this little blank stare off and act like it's not rolling eyes. And I'm like, that's rolling eyes. Because she'll be like,
that's a rolling the eye.
Yeah, that's what I tell
her. So we are at 8:34, and I didn't want people to stay on too long, but I wanted to see if we can put these two together somehow, this question. And so, at the beginning, we talked about, the being a woman first. So like who is Logan? But, in this space, you became a mother and a woman, together, that was intertwined together. And so, that question was, you were a woman first. And, what does that say? What has motherhood taught you about womanhood? But I feel like they have taught you things together, right?
Yes,
right? And so you being, you growing up, getting that label, right? Because you're going to always get that label, right? You're going to always be a teenage mom, no matter what people say, no matter, how successful you are, Logan, no matter what you accomplish, they're going to always say, sis was a teenage mom, right? Like, they're going to always say that, right?
When they try to do it all sweet, they'll be like, oh, you're so young to have kids and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah.
But, and we know you are definitely way more than that, right? But like, what has that all taught you, right? Because, you think about these experiences, these things we've had that happen to us in the past. And, I hope you feel very blessed and fortunate, because, there's a lot of teenage moms who don't have this story, right? And it's, you hate it, it's sad, but I also feel like we need to glorify like a story like yours. I hope you don't feel like you were that statistic, because you weren't, and those statistics are horrible for teenage moms. I went back to look at it last week, and I'm like, what? People still think this about like Black women who have kids young? They still think that they can't get it done, and they do. Like, data and research shows that it doesn't get done. And so in this space, what has motherhood, womanhood taught you separately, together, all of that? Because, and you're still growing into a woman, right? And I think we're all growing into a woman, but once you hit that 18, 21, it's like, but you had to as 16. So that, I just wanted to ask you, like, what has that taught you?
It's taught me to be resilient. Like, no matter what's going on, keep moving. Like, even if just thinking about it, if I wanted to give up, I couldn't, just because I know my baby, she's sitting here watching me literally go through all these stages of my life. She's gonna remember. And hopefully she can just see, she sees how hard I work. So I'm sure if she ever was to think about, God forbid, I don't want it, but if she were to have that experience, like, she would know what I'm going through. Like, hey, I've seen through X, Y, and Z. I know I don't want that for myself. So I'm gonna do this and whatnot. And then it's also helped me, I guess, being a woman, a mother actually has helped me speak out more, just because I'm pretty laid back. Like, if I don't like something, as long as it doesn't like really go too bad, like not nothing crazy, but I'll be like, okay, well, whatever. I can pretty much mesh with anybody, but I don't know, when it comes to my baby or my little brothers and you do something wrong, I don't care what it is. I'm gonna I would turn on a dime. I'm somebody different. So I think that just like being a mom actually helped me, I guess, help me be more bold and more confident. I'm saying to people, like, when I say something, I mean it. Because I know sometimes I like to joke, and some people might be like, oh, well, she's just playing. I'm like, no, like, I'm not budging on this. So I really appreciate that. And then I've always considered myself a passionate person. So just being a mother, is like, she's someone I love. So being a mother, I love doing that. It does get tiring, but I love to do it. And if I wouldn't trade it for the world. And then I guess all of the motherhood as well as womanhood just has brought me closer in faith. Just because I know some days I'll be like, oh my goodness, like when I just sit in my bed, I'm like, what the hell? What the hell done happened today? But I just always literally remind myself, hey, like, trust God. He's not gonna put more on me than I can handle. And I have a sister that I can talk to. That's the good thing. Even though heads, I can always talk to her about anything. And then I have a great circle of friends. So it has helped me to open up to people, because I am kind of closed off, especially teenage mom, because I'm like, I'm not letting everybody know about all this stuff, because I already know they're gonna think, oh, I'm on welfare, I'm lazy, I'm uneducated. But just being myself. I gotta find myself. I'm still trying to figure out things for myself now, but I just feel like I'm more confident and I know a lot about myself now. So it just works a lot better. But I still learn and I still struggle with some things sometimes, like everyone.
I'm about to say, like everyone. So literally what I took from that is, Logan, being an authentic Black mama, being a mom has helped you stand and believe in your voice, helping you believe in yourself more than you would. And then, just, your faith, your family, and your friends, that's kept you afloat. And that's the thing, that's the importance of support, right? Like having people around you who helped you, because could you imagine, you probably can't, right? But could you imagine, going through that as a 16-year-old, you coming back to the house after the search party was over, and you coming into the house and, you not having a dad that said that you should have just told me, Logan. What if you had a dad who was like, what the hell? What, how does happen? And you had that support from you from the beginning. I think, that's so important. So, I said, giving you your flowers, but giving you your family, your friends, KP, and then Miley, right? And then, we got to shout out Miley, because she has helped you become this woman, right? You always saw yourself as laid back, which I think you are laid back, but I think you stand up for what you believe in, right? And I've always loved that about you. And so, that image of what you thought you were, that laid back person, I think you're a strong ass woman, right? And so who has a voice and who's advocating for themselves and their daughter. And so in that space, you know, I guess the last question, and then I'm going to look to see if anybody else had any questions. Okay. Just advice, Logan. I mean, I know you gave a lot, and I kind of gave some takeaways, but just advice for, you know, I guess, you know, not even advice. I take that back because, you know, we are in a different space. Just what do you have any plans? Have you thought about, you know, how you advocate for being a teenage mom, or have you not gotten there yet? Like, you know, like that, this is your story, but like, you know, pouring into, you know, other teenage mothers who are in this space, and, you know, you being a shining light. You know, I can't necessarily relate to your story, but I value it. You know, I respect it, but I can't relate. And so have you thought about what that looks like for you to be able to give back to, you know, and this kind of question is all from the question. You're probably looking like, girl, you did not put this question into this thing. No. So what does that look like for you? Or have you not thought about that? And I think it's fair if you haven't thought about that, but, you know, you have a voice, and that, I think teen moms hearing you in this space is helpful, because, you know, they probably lose faith. They probably lose faith a lot. I mean, I lose faith in a lot of stuff sometimes, and I'm not a mother. So just, I guess in that space, have you thought about what that looks like, you know, like circling back to teenage moms and your story and the power of your story, right? Like, cause you know, this is powerful. You telling me, I know you're telling Shell, you're telling a single Black woman who ain't got no kids about what's going on with you. But, you know, I'm taking this in, and, you know, I can use this later. I can always use this, but what about, you know, these moms who need to hear a voice, these teenage moms who necessarily don't have the family and the friends and just want to get on through?
Yeah, no, I do think about that because, well, I guess I started something. I have two younger cousins who are they were teenage moms. Uh-huh. So I just like talk to them, like basically like anything you need. Like, you don't even have to be my family. I tell my students when I'm at like the high school too, if you need something, I mean, you can ask me. I'm always open to help you, like tell you what helped me along the way, and then some things that I've learned. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help, because that was a big thing with me. I was like, oh no, they're gonna tell. The worst thing somebody can tell you is no, and then you just find a different route. And especially with the world, how they view teenage moms, just know that you aren't confined to what they say. I mean, I can't think of anyone off my brain. Well, actually, I can. A lot of the women that's in this series, you can just do whatever you want to do, because, I mean, it's you. You cannot put no limit on your success, because, I mean, God at the end of the day has the final say. Just make sure you have a strong support system. Go after your goals sooner rather than later, because I hear that all the time where someone's like, oh, I'm just going to wait. No, just try to do it now, because you'll be able to navigate and try to figure it all out, as opposed to waiting. And I mean, who's to say that you'll have that time? So just try to do stuff, but also make sure that you take time for yourself, because you can't try to help everyone else and then not help yourself, because it's kind of like pulling from an empty pot. Like, you're gonna burn out really fast. You're gonna be angry, skin gonna be messing up, and we can't have that. We Black women, we got beautiful skin. I mean, we don't age horribly, you know. But I mean, if you add too much stress on top of something, it'll make a bad little recipe. But just be confident. If you need a support system, I always be willing to reach out to people. Or, I mean, just talk to people, share your story, because you never know. I mean, me doing this helps me too. So just willing to talk to people, make connections. I mean, you can either find, especially in high school, you probably not even the only, well, hopefully you wouldn't be the only teenage mom, but I mean, you could just try to pair it with those girls, because I know when I was going through all that stuff, my friend, she was also along in the process with me. So that was just helpful, just to be able to talk to her and like,
have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, just talk about it. And then like my friends who are now becoming moms, they still call me and ask me about stuff. So I'm like, oh, y'all think about me like that. So it's pretty sweet, but you just never know what you can accomplish. Just go for it, get your story out there, and then you will inspire. I mean, you never know who you can inspire. So
yeah, and if you inspire one person, that's enough, right? I feel like, you know, we try to put limits on that, but that's enough. So look, you know, I was scared. I'm gonna be honest, I was scared about this series, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm this Black woman and I'm single and what am I gonna learn from these moms? But look, sis, like I literally wrote down everything you're saying because it was just life stories, right? But it was stuff that I can take, you know, as I think about what that looks like, or maybe I can share it to my mommy friends, right? Or my friends who are thinking about it. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't, it's hard for me to look at the questions, but I will go back and maybe send it to you. But for the people who are on the YouTube now, if you want, I mean, I think it would be great if you do that, but I think we get into these sessions and we don't know what we got from it. And so it would be great if, you know, you can go to the mommy bio of Logan's on the Choose True Instagram page. It's in the middle, right here. And write, you know, one takeaway, one thing you learned from Logan. And I mean, I learned a lot, and I'm gonna put mine in there, and I hope people do too as well. Logan, I'll just like email you or text you those questions, and maybe we can figure out a creative way to still answer those for the people. And so I want to say thanks. You were the first authentic Black mama to have her series, and then we'll be back this coming Tuesday for Ashley. And so you always know I super appreciate you, and thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll text you something sweet later.
Thank you for allowing me to do this. I really appreciate it.
Girl, of course. All right, let's see.